out of something ordinary, what would be a baby step for someone that may be a little bit scared because it's fear that keeps people from dressing differently and really expressing themselves through clothing? What's a little thing that they can do to get started?
Buy a hat.
Buy a hat. Wonderful. Very. We have some great hat stores in San Francisco as well.
Right.
Or even make a hat if you can do that. We're going to switch gears a little bit here. Sheila is the owner of Noes Nest in Noe Valley in San Francisco. It's right above the Mission, best warm belt of San Francisco. How long have you been in Noe Valley?
34 years.
Wow.
And I have seen many changes, the rise and fall of San Francisco.
Well, explain to the people who maybe have moved here recently, more recently, that are unaware of this. What was Noe Valley like when you first moved there?
In the 1970s or 1977, New York City had the worst winter of its life. There was a mass exodus from New York to San Francisco. There were the most single parents in San Francisco at that time.
Wow. And this was because it was worse than what's going on there now with all the snow and rainfall and that kind of condition?
It was probably similar.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably similar.
And so there were a lot of people that migrated to sunny California.
Right. I felt like I was in Nirvana. It was great to be able, I was a teacher at the time, to teach and then 2:30 in the afternoon go to the beach. It was great.
Isn't San Francisco wonderful? Definitely. Did you expect it to be like sunny, hot all the time, and then you found that there was fog here too? Or
the fog is interesting. It becomes like a person. It becomes real. And we who've lived here a long time enjoy it too.
Mm-hmm. And the people in San Francisco at that time. So you had a lot of New Yorkers that were there too, that migrated at that time.
You had a lot more hippies at that time, leftovers from the 60s. But we all had a great time.
Definitely. It seemed quite a few characters back then, and a lot of musicians, a lot of artists. I remember the Acme Spinning Works Cafe on 24th Street.
Place.
Do you remember that place? They had big barrels that were like the electrical wire barrels that were on their side.
It was wonderful.
That's the first place that my mother took me to smell pot. She's like, that's marijuana. You know, it was very interesting there, and everybody drew and put their pictures up on the wall.
And 24th Street at that time used to have their street festivals, which were very popular.
Oh, wonderful festivals. Didn't it go the whole route down through 24th Street and the Mission as well?
And some of us old-timers really miss that, but, you know, it is what it is.
I remember Star Magic. The first time I was
and
there.
It's back now.
Yes, it's back again in the meat market. Yes, and that was up a little further. I remember there was a woman who had a sweet shop. I think it was I can't remember, it was some funky name for an ice cream parlor that would deliver at 2 o'clock in the morning.
I remember that.
Yeah, it's quite a fun neighborhood. Tell me a little bit about how you decided, okay, now I'm going to have a bed and breakfast.
Actually, it was twofold. One, I had 2 children as a single parent and a foster child. And as a school teacher, I needed more money.
Mm-hmm.
So making my home pay for itself was one way. The other thing is my love of people and traveling. Since I couldn't travel at the time, having travelers coming to me was a feeling of that I was still traveling.
So tell me a little bit about that dynamic. Is it strange at first to have people from all over the country visiting your house and staying with you and your children?
Well, it was like a home away from home for them. But for my youngest daughter, the first time she came out and she said to one of my guests, "Did my mommy sleep with you?" Looking for me, not knowing which room I was going to be in.
Oh, no.
Another time, she actually slept in one of my guest bedrooms. Luckily, she didn't pee.
Oh, no. Lovely. That was a little bonus, yes.
And my guest thought it was the best thing that ever happened.
So it's very much like visiting relatives when they're traveling. You must have some very interesting stories about people that have traveled through Noes Nest and unusual stories of things that have happened there, maybe with some of the people.
Oh, totally. It's life is new every day. You never know who's going to come to your door. Mm-hmm. But you do have some great experiences, and these guests become almost like friends of the family. I'm not sure if they're visiting their children or me.
Oh, nice.
But it's a great way of life.
Mm-hmm.
One time, though, we had guests who stayed, who checked in, and only to find out a few hours later that they checked into the wrong place.
Oh, really? And I bet they stayed anyway.
No, the person from the other place made my guests get up and get out,
Oh, no.
and they had to switch. But it was an interesting night.
Well, there's something that you say that you offer that other bed and breakfasts don't, a room with a life.
Absolutely.
Now, first I thought you meant ghosts, but
No,
No.
it's there are, less expensive places and maybe better places, but my expertise in what's going on in San Francisco, being an event planner, concierge, I'm up on all what's fun to see and do. And I love taking my guests all over the city to unusual things.
what can you give us a little preview about some of the things that you like to invite them out to do that they may not have been able to find on their own?
Very often I get invited to nonprofit events, and I bring my guests along.
Oh, wonderful.
Every year I do a biblical costume Passover.
Oh, nice.
So people come in biblical costume, and I invite my guests. I love Asia SF,
Oh, that's wonderful.
transvestite bar restaurant, and I love taking my guests there. I just have a good time with them.
That's always fun. San Francisco has so many spots, and I'm sure being here that many years, you probably remember Finocchio's.
Absolutely.
Above Enrico's. I got to meet Bill Cosby just last week when he was here, and he was speaking about Enrico's and the Hungry Eye.
And they're no longer there.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Right.
But they're, Asia SF is pretty fun.
Yes.
Definitely. Now, you also have a international catering company.
Absolutely. Well, before I get into that, I just want to say I also cater to kosher clients, being versed in that realm. I'm also presently representing an Académie du Cuisine, which is an international catering company, and they're based out of the Concordia Club, which is a private club.
Now, tell me a little bit about the Concordia Club, because I am a native here and I've never heard of it before. But
It's a little gem that most people don't know about. It began in 1867, a private Jewish men's club. Since then, now it's open to all denominations. And it's very elegant, and I'm presently trying to bring events to this beautiful white building on Van Ness between Geary and Post.
wonderful. And what type of events you do? Fashion shows?
I do fashion shows for charity, nonprofit events, because I am the guru of thrift shops and reinventing vintage clothing and mature models. And I love incorporating all that within a fashion show and for a nonprofit.
That's one. Now, we were talking earlier about your family instilled in you the need to help people who are disadvantaged, and you have these events in order to raise money.
Raise money for the nonprofits.
And-
My family, when I grew up, talked of tzedakah, which means give to charity, and I was raised with that. So now I'm able to spend, my kids are grown, so I can have more time doing that.
That's wonderful. What are your children into? What are they pursuing?
Very different. My older daughter is one of the front desk managers at the also a private club at the Pacific Union Club. She graduated Berkeley in fine arts. And my younger daughter is an environmental activist in Berkeley and has a business called Gardener on a Bike.
Gardener on a bike.
She does landscaping and gardening from her bike.
Wow, very good. A little unwieldy if they have like big plants that you need to transport.
I have no idea.
You have a big bike. It's a really big bike. That's wonderful. That's so. Have they also acquired your taste of fashion?
I don't know yet.
Okay, you're still on the fence.
Well, my older daughter has her own, they both have their own journeys and their own way of expression. My older daughter's more conservative. My younger daughter is my hippy-dippy chick and has her own way of doing things. So I'm sure it wasn't easy being raised by a mother like myself.
I think it's wonderful. It gives them a foot up, definitely.